Big Z Reviews. The Empty Man is a film that came out last year in October, but it was in the middle of a pandemic and no one went to see it. But now it's on streaming, and I think it's getting a bit of a cult following because of how good it actually is.
If you're on a bridge and you find a bottle, you blow into it, and you think about the empty man. Oh, come on, Mandy, how old are you?
Tell him the rest.
On the first night, you hear him. And on the second night, you see him.
And on the third night?
Well, on the third night, he finds you.
So I think the biggest problem with this film, and probably why Disney just buried it, because this is kind of essentially is part of, like, it was lost among the Disney Fox deal, where they were like, what do we hell would do with this movie? We spent a bunch of money on it, but it's 2.5 hours long, and it feels like there's 3 separate movies in here. And I don't know, just make a horrible trailer and just throw it out into the middle of a pandemic, and we'll cut it as a loss. But there's a great movie here. Like, I heard there's a thing where, like, they tried to make it like a 90-minute cut of it, and everyone hated it even more than what the full cut. So it's just release it like it is, because like the cold opening of this movie is like a 20-30 minute mini movie, and I that's one of my favorite part of the film, because essentially it's this group of hikers that go out there, and then one of them falls and discovers something like it's out of Alien, where it's like this being, like there's a mummified being that's humanoid but not human, and like the one other friend goes down to help him, to think maybe something's wrong with him, and he's just staring blankly at this alien and like muttering stuff like, don't touch me, 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 if you touch me you'll die, if you touch me you die. And it's like, it's creepy as all hell, because like there are like 2 couples, and then there is like shenanigans and there's a lot of like cosmic horror, and I almost wanted the whole movie of that. But at the same time, like, that bit ends, and essentially that's like the origin story of like a creepypasta monster, and that's like a modern mythos, a modern boogie tale, the modern thing, like where like if you go to a bridge and you find an empty bottle and blow into it and call the empty man, he'll like do like the Ring. First day you'll hear him, second day you'll see him, and third day he'll see you, or something like that. And there's like that bit, the creepypasta stuff. There was like almost another whole little short film, essentially, with these teenagers that are exposed to it, that do the ritual, and bad shit happens to them. And then the third film, which is the majority of the movie, is starring James Badge Dale as like a former detective who suffered some horrible tragedy, and then now he's like a private eye, but he gets kind of dragged back into it because an old family friend, their daughter, played by Sasha Frolova, and the mother, Marin Ireland, like one of the teenagers that disappeared after playing the Empty Man game, and then he has to kind of go find them and figure out what happened. And James Badge Dale as this detective, that's also named James. Like, he is really good, and I like a lot of stuff because they get into it. Like, he's a good detective and he's figuring shit out, and like you get into like this culty shit, because like a lot of the teenagers had this like this flyer from this cult, and this like weird posters on their wall, and like he is trying to figure out what's going on with this cult, and the cult is creepy. Like, especially there's some scene, like it's this campground scene, which is everything around it is so, like, it's not jump scary frightening, but it's so like just like creepy and weird and like, oh shit, like that's like there's a lot of really cool stuff there. And I think that a movie lets itself down again a little bit when it gets tries to be a little too far up its own ass. Like they try to get too tricky with some stuff. And it's like, okay, I get what you're doing. It's kind of a cool idea, but it's like, you know, because like in the end, I'm not gonna spoil it, but there's multiple ways of kind of taking it, and it doesn't really matter because they both kind of suck, and it both mean end up and the same thing happens, but they're not. The movie isn't very clear which it is, and I think the one way in the movie it feels like this is what the movie is trying to tell you is just really unbelievable and kind of stupid. But there's another angle that I inferred that I kind of liked, but at the same time it doesn't really change the outcome of anything. I'm not sure if I loved the ending, but I really liked a lot of this film. But it's just, I don't know what I would change. I don't know how I'd fix it because there's definitely some things that are kind of broken with the film, but at the same time, there's so much of it that works, and it's so interesting and different that I would highly recommend it if you're a fan of horror, especially like culty sort of horror. And there's also like a bit of cosmic horror. It's not. I'm trying to remember the trailers. I think the trailers really kind of sold the creepypasta aspect of it, and I think that's probably the least of it. I think it's more mystery cult film than that. But still, I mean, I think the director, David Pryor, he also wrote it. I think he did something really interesting here. And I hope that the horrible box office or negligible box office doesn't hurt his career, because I think he could have a bright future if they let him lead a project again. Hopefully it does well on demand, and they see that and they give him another shot. But who knows? I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. I think 8.25, 8.5 out of 10, somewhere around there. Because it's so tough to rate because there's so many different aspects of the film that I enjoy, but other stuff that I still have problems with it. But I would recommend it. So thanks for watching. And if you want to see any more from me, you can subscribe down below. And thanks for watching. And I'll see you next time.